Okay, so this video is Helium-3 is the spice melange of the future. So I'm going to, in real time, type a query on Grok. Can Helium-3 be used for quantum computing cooling applications and also um, Helion energy fusion reactor fuel. Okay, so now I'm getting all this information. Okay. 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 All right, so I'm going to read this. Um, yes, Helium-3 has applications in both quantum computing cooling as a potential fuel for fusion reactors, such as those being developed by Helion Energy. Here's a breakdown of its use in each context. So, Helium-3 for quantum computing cooling. Um, Helium-3 is used in dilution refrigerators, which are critical for achieving the ultra-low temperatures near absolute zero, which is approximately 10 to 100 millikelvin, required for many quantum computers, particularly those based on superconducting qubits or spin qubits. And so the mechanism is that um, dilution refrigerators exploit the unique properties of a helium-3 or helium-4 mixture. And so when helium-3 is diluted into helium-4, it absorbs heat, enabling cooling to temperatures far below what standard helium-4 refrigeration can achieve. This is due to the phase separation and mixing properties of the two isotopes. So the advantages are that helium-3 has a lower boiling point and better thermal properties than helium-4 for extreme cooling. It enables stable continuous cooling at millikelvin temperatures, essential for maintaining quantum coherence in qubits. And so challenges is that it's extremely rare on Earth, right? But we'll get into this. It is abundant on the moon and can be mined from the moon. And SpaceX will facilitate mining of helium-3 from the moon. Anyway, so as a fuel for Helion energy fusion reactors, is developing a fusion reactor based on magneto-inertial fusion, which is using deuterium helium-3, right? And so it's deuterium plus helium-3 is creating helium-4, a proton, and then 18.3 mega electron volts. And so you have the advantages are low neutron output. So unlike deuterium-tritium fusion, deuterium helium-3 produces fewer neutrons, reducing radiation damage to reactor components and minimizing radioactive waste. And so you have direct energy conversion, which is Helion's design aims to capture energy directly from the charged particles using magnetic fields, potentially increasing efficiency compared to traditional steam-based energy extraction. Um, other challenges are again scarcity. So let's see, higher ignition temperature. Deuterium helium-3 requires higher temperatures than deuterium-tritium fusion, making it harder to achieve and sustain. And then, as with cooling applications, the limited supply of helium-3 on Earth poses a major challenge. Helion has discussed producing helium-3 via side reactions, example deuterium-deuterium fusion producing helium-3, or sourcing it from lunar regolith in the long term. Now that's the critical thing, lunar. So, um, so Helion Energy is the only company which is committed to by 2028 provide um, a clean fusion electricity to Microsoft data centers. Um, and so they're building a power plant in the state of Washington right now. And so anyway, um, um, so why the topic of this video is helium-3 is the spice melange of the future is that I'm going to go to is that what will happen is that SpaceX rockets, because basically the initiative is while SpaceX plans to colonize Mars, the first thing is to build a moon base. And so once you have a moon base, um, you, you can then launch to Mars in lower gravity conditions. But given that SpaceX is establishing a moon base, or that's the plan along with NASA, right? The thing that's going to be super important is mining helium-3, which is abundant on the moon. And so once SpaceX starts mining helium-3 and bringing that back to America, that helium-3 will be used both as in applications for cooling, um, for quantum computing, and then also uh, as a fuel for Helion's fusion reactor. And so if you're imagining the future, in the Dune universe, the spice melange is this, a very powerful substance that everyone is after. Um, and so there are wars over spice melange. And so helium-3 will be likewise. And it's going to be on the moon. And so China, of course, has space efforts and, quantum computing efforts as well. And, this involves their knowledge of helium-3 on the moon. And so why I'm saying helium-3 is going to be the spice melange of the future is that you're going to have American presence on the moon, you're going to have Chinese presence on the moon. Um, they're both going to want it, right? And then the two revolutionary technologies that are going to sort of shape the future of humankind are fusion electricity and quantum computing. And so helium-3 is going to enable those quantum computers to stay near absolute zero, to not mess up with the coherent state of the quantum bits. And then helium-3 is also going to be a fuel for that Helion energy fusion reactor, right? And so it's going to be a really critical balance in international relations and resource management that this works out. So anyway, for some visualization, go on the SpaceX website. And so, right, and so, right, and so you have that, and so you could visualize that this is gonna go to the moon, establish a moon base, right, and then once it starts mining helium-3 and bringing that back to Earth, right, it's gonna power this. Um, it's gonna power. It's gonna power. It's gonna power this, right? It's gonna power this, right? Um, and then, other than that, um, um, uh, you're gonna have, right? Um, hold on. You're gonna have, yeah. All right. Who is this? Is this? Yeah. Yeah. So you're gonna have um, yeah. This is the other thing about evolution. A lot of my videos also address this, which is that going slightly off topic, one of my videos about the Pointus X69 um, was that in the olden days, uh, a male who was like extremely built or muscular was evolutionarily attractive because of the necessity to fight other males, directly hunt for resources, and acquire food. But now you have thin intellectuals that are also strong and in leadership positions that are just doing intellectual things. And so this guy is a leader, right? And he's wealthy, right? Is he particularly physically intimidating? No, but he's quite wealthy and he's a leader in technology and he's an intellectual, right? And and so evolution is moving towards, a strong male does not necessarily have to be physically intimidating anymore, just smart. Um, and so anyway, but going back to um, going back to this. Um, so this quantum computer thing, right? This whole visualization, you can have quantum computers in space as well, where the temperatures are lower. Uh, but anyway, you need it to be near absolute zero, so that the coherent state of the quantum bits is not tampered with. And so temperature is a form of noise, and so if there's too much energy in the temperature of the air, it can mess with the coherent state of the qubits. And so you need helium-3 is critical for cooling, for quantum computing applications on Earth. And so let's go over this. SpaceX is going to launch and then build a moon base. On the moon base, they're going to mine helium-3. The helium-3 is going to power this deuterium helium-3 helion energy fusion reactor, right? Um, and then it's also going to power quantum computers in terms of enabling the temperature for their functioning to be near absolute zero. So helium-3 is the spice melange of the future. And it's going to be critical that America and China develop an agreement as to how we're going to divvy up the helium-3 on the moon, uh, so that we don't have a Dune scenario where people are fighting over this spice melange, so to speak. Anyway, thank you. Deus Ex Machina out.